Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, January 11th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. Sunday, most of San Antonio saw no more than sleet and flurries, but snow stuck in parts of the hill country and blanketed communities near Austin. It'll stay cold but dry in San Antonio today, and you can expect sunny skies with a high of 46 degrees. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Sunday the House will proceed with legislation to impeach President Donald Trump unless the Vice President and Cabinet force him out. With just days left in his presidency, Trump is planning a trip to Texas on Tuesday to tout his border security policies. But critics say it also highlights the damage he has caused over the last 4 years. Tuesday is a big day in Texas politics for another reason. It's the first day of the 2021 legislative session. We have 6 key issues before the Texas Legislature and their prospects in a session that will be dominated by financial concerns. And now let's move on to our top stories for the day. In October 2019, only 31 special Bitcoin ATMs dotted the city. Today, 212 of the machines reside in local gas stations, corner markets, and tobacco and liquor stores across the city, according to CoinATMRadar.com, a website that tracks digital currency ATMs. The explosive growth of cryptocurrency ATMs in San Antonio and around the world is an indicator of the popularity of the highly volatile digital currency, which hits an all-time high value of $41,962 for one Bitcoin on Friday. Like any high-risk asset, cryptocurrency's recent bullish gains could disappear as quickly as they came, one expert says. Despite the risks, however, cryptocurrency offers several potential benefits to investors, according to Daniel Polotsky, CEO of CoinFlip, a Bitcoin ATM network. Brandon Lingo has more in his collaboration with Report for America. Many Bexar County Republicans who have supported President Donald Trump are still concerned about possible election fraud, but were appalled by the violence at the U.S. Capitol and say it's time for the nation to unite and move forward. In Bexar County, a high-ranking elected official found Trump's actions before the riot reprehensible, while a former precinct chair running for a school board seat doesn't blame Trump at all. Others saw both sides. Find out what they told us in Scott Huddleston's latest article. 80-year-old Sharon Garza has holed up with her 77-year-old husband for months in their home on the southern edge of Bexar County, wishing and waiting for the vaccine that might help them at least to be able to get out of the house. When she found out the state was allowing people 65 and older to get the COVID-19 vaccine, Garza was elated. Garza's excitement quickly turned to frustration when she began trying to get vaccinated. She called her doctor, CVS Pharmacy, and H-E-B. None of them had a shot for her. Vaccines are considered the best weapon in the battle against a disease that has killed about 370,000 people in the U.S. and 1.9 million worldwide. But less than a month into the COVID-19 vaccine distribution, Texans are already experiencing frustration and confusion as they scramble to secure shots. Marina Starleaf-Riker and Brian Chasnoff have more in their latest article. As the country's political polarization reaches a boiling point, illustrated vividly Wednesday by the violent takeover of the U.S. Capitol by supporters of the president who believed his false claims that the election was stolen, Texas Republicans are seeking to make some of the nation's strictest voting laws even stricter. A range of election-related bills have been filed by lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, though their aims are in direct opposition, with Democrats looking to ease up laws they see as suppressing the vote and Republicans trying to curb the opportunities for the fraud they say plagued the 2020 election. You can read more about those bills over at expressnews.com. The city is transforming the Alamo Dome into a no-cost mass COVID-19 vaccination site, inoculating about 1,500 people a day in an effort to turn the tide of a devastating epidemic. On the south and west sides, WellMed will offer 1,500 free vaccinations per day, 6 days a week. The vaccine doses would be administered at 2 locations, the Elvira Cisneros Senior Community Activity Center and the Alicia Trevino Lopez Senior One-Stop Center. Now that more Texans can receive the coronavirus vaccine, check our Vaccine Frequently Asked Questions page for answers to your questions about the COVID-19 vaccine. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. As San Antonio officials reported a record-breaking number of new coronavirus cases and hospitalizations Sunday, state health officials said more vaccine doses are on the way. Just days after supporters of President Donald Trump stormed the U.S. Capitol, resulting in the deaths of a police officer and 4 others, the Republican Party of Texas held its own rally near the Texas Capitol to condemn violence. The father of a 10-year-old girl shot to death with her mother and sister at a home in far northwest Bexar County almost 2 years ago has filed a lawsuit against her late mother's boyfriend who owned the home. U.S. Senator Ted Cruz has sharpened his criticism of President Donald Trump, saying the president's rhetoric certainly contributed to the violence that occurred as Trump supporters stormed the Capitol on Wednesday. A legend in the Alamo City, and especially within the halls of Bexar County's Center of Justice, Paul Venema will retire in the spring after a TV news career of 47 years with KSAT 12. A group of police reform activists submitted about 20,000 signatures needed to get a city charter amendment on the ballot that, if approved by voters, would repeal local implementation of a state law that gives police the right to collectively bargain. Lonnie Walker scored 22 of his season-high 25 points in the first half, but the Spurs faltered down the stretch for a 96-88 defeat against the Timberwolves on Sunday, stopping a 3-game winning streak. Greg Jefferson writes, quote, "With nearly identical legal maneuvers, slick ones, the San Antonio water system and CPS Energy are trying to kneecap activists' efforts to overhaul how the public utilities are run." You can read Greg's full column over at expressnews.com. Although there are only days left in his term, President Donald Trump must be impeached and convicted, the Express News editorial board writes. As for U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, read the full editorial to find out how they think he should be held accountable for his efforts to undermine the election. As of March 16th, before the pandemic caused the suspension of jury trials, the number of indicted felony cases still unresolved in Bexar County was 3,997. By December 27th, that number stood at 6,605, and the backlog continues to grow. The city council race for San Antonio's District 3 is shaping up as a battle between a possible new Southside political dynasty and one seeking redemption. We have everything you need to know about that race over at expressnews.com. Read the latest from Gopa Garcia to find out how a San Antonio Democratic consultant helped John Ossoff win a runoff race in Georgia. While the nation may surpass 400,000 coronavirus deaths by Inauguration Day, a more organized vaccination process is on the horizon, writes Elena Ayala, adding, quote, "We'll have to wait our turn, not jump ahead of the line, and allow the most vulnerable to go first." An encounter with the late Tommy Lasorda in 2000 set the stage for the rest of a young journalist's career. Mike Finger explains how in his latest column. This Week in History, on January 13th, 1985, the banner headline on the front of the San Antonio Light read, "Unbelievable," after the Alamo City received a whopping 10 inches of snow with more expected. Quote, "The worst snowfall in South Texas history, expected to leave at least a foot of powder on the ground before it ends, immobilized San Antonio yesterday and established several weather records," according to reporter Elisa Schramm and Javier Rodriguez. You can read more about San Antonio's big snow of 85 over at expressnews.com. More than a month ago, George B. Hernandez Jr., President and CEO of University Health, revealed that the distribution of the first COVID-19 vaccine could begin by mid-December. Since then, thousands of UH employees, first at the hospital and then at outpatient sites, have been vaccinated. It has begun immunizing Bexar County residents aged 65 and older and those in certain risk categories. But implementation of the vaccination plan has not been as fast or as large scale as Hernandez predicted last month. Hernandez, joined by Dr. Brian Alsip, Executive Vice President and Chief Medical Officer at University Health, recently discussed the preparations, current situation, and projected trajectories on 2 vaccines now available in Bexar County. Read the Q&A over at expressnews.com. You've met soccer dads, gymnastic dads, and volleyball dads, fathers who go all out to support their daughters' athletic endeavors. Now, meet Jimmy Ayala, the ultimate escaramuza dad in Richard A. Marini's latest article. Naco Mexican Eatery food truck has some of San Antonio's best chilaquiles and keto-friendly cheese crust tacos, so it's worth a drive. Check out the full review over at expressnews.com. The Reagan Rattlers are well represented on the Express News all-area volleyball team. See who took home other honors over at expressnews.com. Paul Stephen explores everything you need to know about cutting board safety and sanitation in his latest Paul's Cooking Tips column. Calvin Finch has your guide to what's blooming this winter in San Antonio gardens, while Neil Sperry addresses lawn brown patch, the best shrubs for fast-growing privacy screens, and how to prune blackberries and more in his down-to-earth column. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Monday, January 11th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful week, everyone.